from Fabbulous Paper Emporium. Here is part 2 of our version of the As Many As birthday edition, using the Add Another Candle paper. So I've got today 2 more styles of cards, and this is the first one is going to be the Fancy M Fun Fold card. So it's actually a fabulous Fancy M Fun Fold card. So really simple to make. There's a couple of different options, excuse me, as we go through, there's a couple of different options that you can do for the front. Since I was wanting to use as many of these cute cut aparts in different ways, instead of just kind of putting them on the outside of an A2 card base, which is, again, totally fine and totally acceptable, will make a beautiful card. I'm just trying to give you more options as far as when you're trying to get the most out of your paper pack, but you want to have fun cards. And so here, this is why I'm making this series. So the Fancy M, I've used one of the cut aparts on the front, but because our cut apart was smaller than the front, I put a little strip here. You can easily put this in the center and do a nice strip all the way across, but this is how I've decided to do it. And then when you open it, I've got, again, more of this beautiful paper in the background. I have, from my own personal stash, have this cute candle set. So it's a series of stamps as well as dies. I don't know why I was trailing on there. So it's from Concord and 9th. It's the Make-A-Wish Stampin' Dies. So there's the stamps, and I've got the dies on the other side. So I cut a bunch of them out and used basically the same color cardstock that I was using throughout the series. So it didn't really matter what I end up putting these on, it will certainly go with. So, and I used a stamp, a sticker here. I've left this spot blank, and all I did was I freehanded around the outside. I didn't mean for it to be straight, because I know I can't draw a straight line to save my life. So it was, whimsical, I guess, in the fact that I have a very shaky hand, and the reason why I'm not a surgeon. So, so that is one of the options, certainly, is to have that little space here as well as the front. The second option, I haven't even glued this down yet, but the second option here, I've done the same thing on the outside in terms of the cut apart and then using a strip there. Same thing on the inside. I've used some of the candles on the right and the left and used some stickers on the inside. The balloons are the sticker part. And then again, I just took my little Sharpie or fine tip pen and just drew some of the string coming from the balloons. And then on this one, this is actually going to go on the back. So if you have like a longer message that you're wanting to write, then you have plenty of space on the back side. And I know we've done other card styles where the messages go on the back, and that just allows you to go a little crazy and use a bunch of the beautiful decorative paper that's out there. So that's how this one is going to go. We've got our fun little inside, and our message and sentiment will go on the back. If I were to stamp this, I wouldn't have glued it on, so I'm not going to be stamping that anytime soon. So these are the 2 cards. I have one more card to make, which is why I'm making this video, so that I can show you how it's done. I'm just going to remove my mat for right now. We'll bring in our pieces. And right now, I'm not entirely sure which kind I'm going to be doing, if I'm going to be doing the sentiment on the small 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, or if I'm going to do it on the back. So I've given, excuse me, I had to sneeze. So I've given myself both options. So as we go through it, I'll make my decision kind of towards the end. So to start off, we're going to have 2 strips. So the big strip, which is our base, is cut at 11 by 4 1/4, and we'll be scoring this at 5 1/2. And then we have another strip that is 11 by 1, and this puppy is going to be scored at 2 3/4, at 5 1/2, and at 8 1/4. And then to go with this, we have 4 pieces that are all cut at 2 by 2. And I like to keep all of these the same color simply because then there's really some continuity in between. And I like the fact that the strip and the panels are cut from the same color because they kind of blend in that way. Of course, if you wanted to change any of this up and use different colors, by all means. It's a very colorful, it's a very colorful paper pack. So I'm sure whatever you decide will look absolutely beautiful. And then apart from the solids, we have now 2 pieces that are going to be on the inside. And both of these pieces are cut at 5 1/4 by 4. So you're going to need 2 of those. If you were wanting to put a large piece on the outside front, instead of using one of these cut aparts, then you could absolutely need a 3rd one, and that will cover the front nicely. So for this one, I've got my party with the cake and the streamers and things. So I've got my cut apart, and this is 3 by 4. And then I have my little piece on the side, and I didn't write down how much this was, so I will tell you right now. So this one is cut at 1 7/8 by 4. And that's going to sit just like our other ones. So I'm going to have the strip on one side as well as the cut apart on the opposite side, or just like that, leaving a little bit of space in between. Okay, so, and then of course, if you were wanting to put the sentiment on the back, you're going to need another piece that is 5 1/4 by 4. And this should be something that's light, that somebody can see what the writing is. If you wanted to put it on the inside, 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 squared. Okay, so we will get to scoring and then assembly. Okay, so for this large piece, I'm going to remove the 4 little pieces that I have here. So for the large piece, we are again 11 inches across the top, and we are going to be scoring at 5 1/2. This piece, because it is only 1 inch, there's 2 ways you can do it. If you wanted to, because this is all this is, you're going to fold this in half and just press. And then both of these pieces that you have now are going to fold back on each other. So on this side, we line it up with the fold line and press. I flip it over and I repeat the exact same thing. Fold and press. Like I said, you can absolutely score it if you feel like that gets you a better mark. But once it's burnished, I feel like it's pretty darn good. So anyways, 2 ways of doing it. If you don't remember the score marks, that is super, super simple. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my mat in quickly. Okay, so I've got my base. We are just going to fold this and burnish it really well. So we've got our front cover. I'm going to bring in this. So like I said, whether you want to put it on the right or left or however you want to do it, if you cut this piece a little bit longer, then it can go from side to side and you can put your party there. You can do it like this if you want to. There's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of play around with the patterns in order to put together your front. So I actually kind of like that. I know it's a little bit longer than what I need, but since we're playing around with things, I think that's what I'm going to do. You know, I've got two that are done the other way. One, the cut apart is on the left side. The other one, the cut apart is on the right side. And this, the cut apart, is going to be on the right side, but this piece is going, you know, a little bit differently. And you can certainly pot this up on some foam if you would like to have it a little bit, like elevated a little bit, giving it a little bit of dimension. I'm just going to be using my awesome liquid glue today. Whoops. Just make sure that I'm trying to get as even of a border as possible. Okay, so that is the outside. On the inside, we're going to bring our two pieces that are going to lay on either side. So it's just a simple matter of applying your liquid glue. I've had mine open for a bit and it seems like it's, I don't know if I've got something sticky on the inside or something that's gonna kind of blocking it, but oh well, it's still working. So I'm gonna keep on keeping on. All right. So I just get this part glued down. And this paper has been so much fun to play around with. I've really, really enjoyed this series so far. Still got quite a few styles to go through. So now what I do with this part, so we've got 4 sections, which are going to accommodate our 4 little squares. So what I like to do, or what I have done, what I have found works for me anyways, is this score mat that fits right inside my score pal. It has all these fantastic lines so I can kind of get everything lined up. I put a little bit of this Post-it note tape on the fold lines because I'm not going to be covering these up, but that kind of keeps it down and in place for me so that when I go to apply my squares, that I am getting them roughly in the same vicinity. So it gives me something to kind of aim for. When you are doing your squares, you just want to put a line of adhesive down the middle because remember, you are applying these just like you only have a strip to apply it to, right? So you don't want to go above and below because otherwise you're going to be sticking it to your mat. And I've done that. So the warning labels on anything are because it's probably been done. And like I said before, it gives me a better sense of placement. Not that it all has to be perfect, but I appreciate the fact that I'm not, because, you know, eyeballing it works most of the time. There are some times where I question if I had my eyes closed. So anyways, just a thought. Yes, of course, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Or if you don't have the score mat. It is super handy. If you get glue or adhesive on it, it comes off like a breeze. So I'm really, really enjoying it. Okay, so for my last one, that will go right there. And then I can peel off. These are all reusable, so I just stick them on the outside of the container until they stop sticking, and then they go in the garbage. Okay, perfect. So now it's a matter of filling these in. Like I was showing you before, I've got these cute little candles that I've cut and stamped or die cut. So I'm going to use some of those like I have been throughout like the other two. And you also have this very cute sticker sheet as well. Obviously tucked into it already, but if you wanted to use the wine glasses or something else that will fit inside, if it doesn't fit inside quite perfectly, like let's say we were using, I'm not going to use this sticker, I don't think, but if we were using this party, it will still work. You just have to make sure that you take off the sticky on the back, or you put it on some cardstock and fussy cut it. Otherwise, it's going to stick to the back, and it's these two panels especially are not going to pop upwards. So I just wanted to make a note of that. I did also see that I have, you want the middle one to pop up, and then these two side pieces are going to fold down. And I just realized as I was playing around with the sticker, I'm like, I did it the other way, but that's okay. They're just fold marks. So this is how it's going to lay down on the inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply some of my candles with, some of them have this cute little sentiment that says either make a wish or this best birthday wishes. So these two I have been using. I've used the make a wish on one side and biggest birthday wishes on the other. So I'm going to continue with that same, theme, the same pattern. And yeah, so I will fast forward and I will catch up with you. Okay, so now that I got my my candles all set in place, now it's a decision on what to do with the inside. So can definitely use some of the stickers. If you have some really cute stamps, you can use those. There's actually, oh, that comes out. I like that. There's one of these stickers that I think I'm going to use on this side. And I probably, because it doesn't quite fit in, I probably am just going to do a little like stitching kind of on the outside circle to kind of give it a little bit more, a little bit more something. Something. I just don't know what it is. Could have definitely, with the oval shape, could have definitely fussy cut something. Just do something quick and easy like that. You can do it around the outside as well. And then I think I'm going to take some of these cute little birthday hats, these party hats, and stick them on this side. I generally wait until I'm done with the whole, all the cards before I start tucking into my stickers. But I felt like these ones, probably more than anything, do need to have something. And then I'm going to take my little pen and just do the little squiggly lines for the elastics on both sides. So those are my little hats. And then to put this on the inside. So obviously I'm not doing the whole, sentiment on the inside. I'm going to do that on this card. So I'm just quickly going to go around the outside, similarly to my other ones. And like I said, I'm not trying to make this perfect because it's just not going to be perfect. You can, I have in the past grabbed a ruler and, kind of marked it 1/8 of an inch and, did the border, and it was fine. It's good, but I'm freehanding it this time. And then in your stickers, you've got these cute little borders at the bottom, and that's what I used initially. So I am just going to cut one of these little the banner border. I'm going to cut one of those off. Oops, I'm going to cut that a little bit off there. Oh, and at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to just take my little birthday banner. I'm going to go from one side to the other, just like I did for this one. That way it gives me still a lot of space to write anything that I want on here. Before putting this in, I am going to stick it on. Not that it's difficult once the inside is in, you're going to have a little bit of, it's going to stick up a little bit because obviously this is all folded. So I just want to get this put on. And then for the inside, how I put this in is I fold it all up. You're going to glue here and here. Those are the only two parts that we are putting any kind of adhesive. You can absolutely use double-sided tape if you wanted, but I've used liquid glue and have no problem with it. Okay, so you want to make sure that this is how it's going to be folded out. Otherwise, it's going to be upside down or on the wrong side. I make sure that my front is on the left-hand side, and I am lining up. You can put it basically anywhere you want within the card, so long as your anything that you have that's sticking up is not going above or below. It's not hanging up or excuse me, I'm having problems with my words today. It's not going above or below where the card ends. Okay, so I stuck it down on this side, lining up the pink with the end of the decorative paper. And then when I folded it, I stuck the other side to the back. And so this way it pops up when you have it open. And it's just as simple as that. Very cute. We've got 3 cards in this style. So I believe we are up to 7 now. 7 cards, 7 beautiful cards. And there's still a lot more to make. So I will get my next set of cards out, and we'll be making at least one more in this tutorial, and then I'll probably have to make a couple more. So it's probably going to be a week-long thing. So hopefully you stay tuned and you continue watching. Okay, so our second card for today is the Crisscross Fun Fold. It was probably, I want to say, one of the first, if not the first video that I ever did. And that's not to say that was ages ago, because our channel is relatively new still. We haven't even been here for a year, and I am very much appreciative for all the love. So just to get that out there, I guess. But this is the Crisscross Fun Fold. So we've used a cut apart on the front. There's a belly band to keep it all closed, and that slides off, and then you have your card on the inside. It is super simple, looks super cute. It is, like I said, relatively simple to do. We'll walk through everything. I don't know why that's not sliding. There we go. We'll walk through all the pieces together, and I'm sure it will probably take us less than a half hour. So anyways, if that's, you know, I'm assuming that I don't do quite as much talking, which is difficult sometimes. So I'm going to go through the piece sizes right now. So for this card, this card I'm going to be using red. We're going to start off with our base, which is 10 by 3 7/8. And we'll be scoring this at 5 inches so that it folds in half. We also have a piece that is 10 by 1 1/4, and that will be our belly band. We also have 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 3.5. We will be scoring these diagonally. This is what makes kind of like that crisscross. So we've got 2 of those, and then lastly we have a piece that is 3.25 by 4.25, and this is to layer our cut apart. And for, as you probably have already heard, the cut aparts for this particular project or series, they're basically 3 by 4. So I wanted to have a 1/4 inch difference on that. So now that's my segue into the designer paper. Excuse me. For the designer paper, you will need 1 piece that is 3 3/4 by 4 7/8. And you will need a strip that covers your belly band. And this strip is 3 7/8 by 1 1/8. And then to go on the inside, which I am just realizing I have not cut out. So on the inside, we have a piece that is 3 3/4 by 4 7/8. So basically the same size as this, because it is, again, folded in half. So I am going to get to it. We are going to start with scoring our base. So I'm going to move these pieces off to the side. So we're just going to quickly score this at 5 inches. And again, I like going over twice, so I'm not putting quite as much pressure on it the first time. And this way I am sure not to go through it. That's happened. I'm just going to put my score mat on here, which will give me a nice solid surface to work on. And the grid is beautiful if you're wanting to work, you know, and making sure that things are, you know, aligned properly when it comes to doing the belly band. And we'll get to that. So the next thing we want to score are our 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 3.5. And how I accomplish this is I'm going to take my bone folder. You can easily, if you have the score pal, just grab your score tool that's up here. The bone folder, we're going to go from corner to corner. So I am aligning my ruler. I basically put the tip of my bone folder at the corner, and I go obviously from corner to corner. And I'm going to do a couple of passes, and this way I am sure that the score mark is basically thick enough that it's gone through the paper, but like not actually making a hole. So then I put both tips together like that and just flatten it out with my fingers, and then I go over it with a bone folder. So we're going to do that again with the second piece. Again, putting our I put the tip right at the corner, and if you're unsure whether or not that's going to go from corner to corner, then just gently slide your bone folder from one tip to the other, and you should be totally fine. That way you're assured to get a crisp line that goes from corner to corner. So again, I'm just going to match up the corners and fold. Then I come back with my bone folder, crisp up that edge, and there we have it. So that will make our crisscross. So I'm going to take the base again. That is the base, right? Yep. Sorry, I just can't get it. And these are going to go on the back side. So we're only going to be applying glue to this side of the triangles, or the diagonally folded squares. I guess they're now triangles. So I'm going to make sure that each tip should be pretty close to the top and the bottom. It will fit in nicely between those two. Let me pull that down a bit. Whoops. Kind of sliding all over the place. And then I'm going to fold it over. And this way you know that you're not pushing it in too far. Whoops, I didn't push it in far enough there. And then it's just going to be adhered on the back side. So this way you have a piece that flips open. And we're going to basically do the exact same thing on the other side. And I'm going to lay this down on top and kind of wiggle it down if you need to. And just as you're folding it over, making sure that you put a little bit of pressure on the inside, but not too much. You definitely need that folding over nice and smoothly. So there we go. So our base is done. And we are now going to put on top, we're going to apply our designer paper. And that just goes on very simply. You're going to do your best to leave as equal of a border as possible all the way around. Oh boy, just realized I had some, I think I cut this with a bit of a dull blade, but that's okay. Just pick that off. All right, so we've got our fun balloons. We are going to layer up the cut apart like so. Again, this is going to have a nice border, so trying to apply that so that there's as equal of a border as possible. So then we have that done. Obviously on the inside, which like I said, I don't think I've got one cut. I have a piece. Yeah, that's way too big. I'm going to trim that down. So just give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab my trimmer. And so we needed the white piece to be 3 3/4. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 4 7/8. Okay, and what I simply did on my last one is, I'm not sure who I'm going to be sending it to. You could just stamp it. You can leave it blank and just leave it on the inside. And this way, when you are ready to give the card to somebody, then you can easily write your message. It's not that it's terribly daunting to write the message when it's in the card, but you know, if you're like me and don't always stamp straight, or you know, you make a mistake while you're writing, then you know, it's not the end of the world. You can always flip it over. So I am going to stick mine in because I feel like I'll just be writing a quick message when I'm ready to give out the cards. And it's going to fit in here like so. Oops. Okay, so that's going to go in there like that. I'm going to grab one of my stickers. There's some party hats. There's some gifts and things like that. And we're doing red, so I really like this plaid one. So I'm going to put this balloon, just like I did in my sample, my other one that I showed you. Not really my sample, it's just a secondary card that I had done. And then just go like that. So that part is all done. I always want to fold those in first. So these parts fold over. The last part that second to last part, sorry, that we need to do is our belly band. So what I did initially when I was doing this, there's plenty of space when you fold it over. There's plenty of overlap, so you don't have to worry about, you do want to make sure that it's snug, but you don't want to really reef on it and have it too tight that it doesn't slide off easily. So I just folded each side over and just gave it a little press with my finger. I'm going to make a note of where the pieces meet. You can easily just take a little pencil, make yourself a little pencil mark so you know where you need to stay between, so you're not, you know, gluing like crazy and have some exposed glue. Nobody is going to see that part either because you're going to go over it with the another strip of decorative paper. Again, I've got some little fuzzies on the end. That was before I had, before I had changed my blade. So I'm only noticing that now. There was a bit of a cutting frenzy. So this piece is going to, make sure you've got your balloons right side up. So this is just going to simply layer on top. And you can put one on the back, but since we're not really doing anything decorative on the back, kind of left the back alone. Everything really is on the front. And then your card is going to go on the front like this. So it's going to attach to the belly band. So because we're only going to be we only want glue on a part of this card, you can flip it over. Again, if you're uncertain as to, like, or you don't feel confident when you are eyeballing it, things tend to get a little bit out of control. You can just kind of do yourself a little line like that. Again, nobody is really going to see it. And I'm going to give myself plenty of space on either side. I'm going to take my belly band off just so that I can be sure that if I need to wiggle it at all, that none of that glue is getting onto the front of my card. So that is pretty even, I believe. Press that down, and then we have our Crisscross Fun Fold. And that is how it sits. So that is the second card type for today. So far we have done the bendy, we've done the reverse easel, we have done the, what was earlier today? We have done the the Fabbulous Fancy M Fold, and now the Crisscross Fun Fold. So we still have more to get done, but now our tally is up to 9. So we've done 9 different cards so far out of our Add Another Candle pack. And believe me, there are still a ton left to do. So that is it for part number 2. We'll be back with part number 3 later on this week. And then I think we'll be wrapping it up with part number 4. So 4 parts in total. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you have been inspired, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have a fabulous day and you stay safe and well. Bye.